Hi all and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going over why people love tabletop war games and why you should try one out. Everyone should try and play a tabletop war game at least once, even if it's just on Tabletop Sim with a friend. Tabletop war games are a hobby that has a lot of depth, but has varying amounts of what you can get from it. Hopefully the passion shared here shows you why people enjoy it so much. Going into the actual hobby and what got me into it actually is that building and painting minis is amazing. Slowly constructing something and slowly piecing things together is an amazing feeling. The skills you learn and how intuitive model building becomes is fantastic, and it even has more applications as IKEA instructions actually make sense now for me. Jokes aside, this is actually one of the more divisive parts of the hobby, as a lot of people don't like building, but secondary markets exist to skip both the building and painting steps if you want to skip right to the game. Self improvement through the hobby is what drew me in the beginning. I have a very shaky hands due to the medications I take. This makes both building and painting much harder, however, I find joy in this. To the right is the Primaris Captain I painted over a year ago, probably one of my best minis I have painted to this day. I still remember painting it after a really bad day at work, and the feeling of it all coming together and taking it as a source of comfort. It is in my heart somewhere as an amazing miniature, and it honestly is what's got me addicted to this hobby for so long. Learning new techniques and appreciations for others' techniques is always a plus. Always compliment someone's work and ask how they did it, and learn from them. And this goes into self improvement heavily, but eventually, you can get to a point where you will impress yourself every time you look at that favorite mini on the shelf or the table. Talking to people is the best part of this hobby, learning what everything is and learning how to do it. Just be careful not to knock down a new painter or a new player. I remember the first time I showed my models off, I was so proud I had them painted. And the first thing someone looked at them and went was, well, that one doesn't look finished, and pointed to one that I hadn't finished. It was partially painted. And it stuck with me. They then went on to say like some more nice things, but they started so poorly that I still remember to this day. And I don't really say, hey, I just painted this much at all anymore. And it kind of sucks. I feel so self conscious about my painting. Not everyone's perfect though, and I do have people I can show my painting to and I'll get praise from, but it helped me find a way to get happiness and joy out of this hobby myself. Which again is the main thing I'm trying to put apart in this video. It's not that expensive to get into depending on how you approach it, and you can get such self-fulfillment from it. And that leads right into the social side of the hobby. Meeting new people and making friends who will talk your ears off is always a plus. There are dozens of people I have met and become friends with while playing tabletop war games, a decent chunk of them in the last year. Socializing is a human need, and if this niche interests you, then you will be sure to find someone else who also interests you, and most likely shares a lot of the same interests as well. I have found that with so many countless people. Joining a club or being part of a group is a really good feeling. Saying you're a part of something can make you feel more complete. As a human, more than likely, you will most likely be happier as well once you find this group. It's called tribalism, and I dislike conversations about it, but it is right. You feel better as a part of a group. And a bonus of being part of this is also being part of tournaments that they run as well. Now getting into the actual play, the actual game you're gonna do. Learning a complex game or system can be deeply rewarding, as when it finally clicks, and you can see a way to win or that narrow quarter to the finish line, it is perfect. Learning your faction and army rules takes time. And then you have unit rules and what they do best, their best matchups and how to deploy them at the start of the game. You will always be learning in these games. No one knows everything. And when new releases happen, then it gets shaken up and more things happen. You will never know everything about the game. You'll always be learning something new, and that's a lot of fun. Playing in local tournaments is an experience. While next year I have my eyes on a larger tournament, spending all day to play a local tournament is a great time. I love the feeling of getting to know people through playing a fun game that we all love, while at least getting 3 games in for the day. It is a draining but a fun experience everyone should try at least once, as participating in them is usually worth it, and you get to play the game you're enjoying for like 6-7 hours straight. Totally worth it. Almost every tabletop war game has lore, even historical war games. It's just called history for them. Meant for that to be a joke, and I don't think it's gonna go well, but I'll keep it in. Why not? Tracking down TV shows, war games, or inspired by movies is always a treat. There are so many pieces of media I would never have even known existed without Warhammer 40,000 or Battletech. Historical wargames can be a great way to meet a group of people with a deep knowledge on different aspects of history, some of which you might share or be interested in learning. Totally worth it. My local bolt action group has at least 3 people with history degrees in it. I love that. I might have been a fourth if I'd actually went to college, but it is what it is. I love it, and I love meeting people who do the things and are interested in the things I love too. With price withstanding, it is always a good idea to try something new. Tabletop Wargames lets you do that. Having reasons to improve yourself is always good, and hopefully this made you intrigued or reinvigorated you to dive deep into this hobby. Personally, I think with just $200, you can get started in almost any major tabletop wargame with all the paints, tools, glue, and everything you're going to need for the first 3 to 4 months of hobbying. This just requires smart buying or buying secondhand. I think it's worth it. $200 is the same price as, what, 3 AAA video games now with a $70 price tag? And you're getting months worth of stuff to do instead of just playing a video game for 10 hours and then you're done. So I personally think that's a good way to break it down. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it deserves one. And I'll see you all later. Have a great week.